Do you remember when a bunch of billionaires died and the whole internet celebrated? Well, it all starts with this guy. His name's Stockton. And Stockton is a pilot and an engineer, but what he really wants to do is explore the universe, like Captain Kirk on Star Trek. But one day in 2004, when he's 42 years old, he decides to do just that. Except he's gonna start specifically underwater. And so he starts renting private submarines to travel down into the deep. And he is shocked at how few submarine rentals there are out there. And so after a little research, he starts thinking, hey, I'll build a private submarine myself and I'll let people rent it from me. So in 2009, that's what he does. Stockton starts his own company, OceanGate.
Hi, my name is Stockton Rush. I'm the CEO and founder of OceanGate.
Then in 2016, he and OceanGate start taking tourists in a small submarine to tour underwater ruins from this Italian shipwreck. That's pretty cool. But that's apparently not enough for Stockton. He's thinking bigger. He wants to take tourists down to a destination that's really hard to get to. A destination that's going to get his company a lot of buzz and attention. That destination, the wreckage of the Titanic. And so Stockton gets to work and he starts designing a submarine that can withstand the pressure of the ocean at 13,000 feet deep. And old school standard submarines, they're too expensive and way too big. And Stockton, he wants his to be cheap. And so, boom, he starts building it. He apparently cuts some corners on the material he uses on it, and he adds a bunch of other pre-made parts so that OceanGate can save some money. And he also installs a Logitech video game controller to steer it. Now, he does get a lot of criticism for this, but I actually looked into it, and it's apparently not uncommon to use Logitech video game controllers to control certain parts of submarines. So he's not entirely crazy for installing one on his, apparently. Anyway, once it's built, he calls this new submarine Titan. And it ends up being about the size of an SUV. And so Stockton tests the Titan without anyone inside to see if it can withstand the pressure, and actually, it holds up. And so it looks like his dreams are gonna come true. He's actually gonna get to explore the ruins of the Titanic. Until... not everyone is on board with Stockton's Titanic submarine plans. Particularly this guy, David. And David is an employee at OceanGate. And so David looks at the Titan and he immediately sees some things that could ultimately turn into a leak. And so David lets it be known, and he brings all these serious safety concerns up in a meeting with all the bosses at OceanGate. He's like, this sub, it isn't strong enough. And he insists that they get it inspected and certified by the American Bureau of Shipping to verify that it's safe and up to standard. But I guess Stockton is like, nah, that won't be necessary, because he feels that most accidents are caused by mistakes made by the operator, not by the equipment. And so getting extra inspections won't really matter. And then, boom, they immediately fire David and they give him 10 minutes to clear out his desk, and then they escort him out of the building. I guess they really did not like being questioned. Regardless, now that no one is poking holes in this business plan, Stockton can move forward with testing the Titan with an actual human inside, and of course he insists on taking it down first, by himself. And so he takes the Titan down, and everything seems to be going fine. But then, once the Titan is around 10,000 feet down, suddenly, bam, it loses all communication with the support crew on the surface. But Stockton, he isn't scared. He's down in the submarine looking out the little window and seeing all this magical deep sea shit that makes him feel like he's finally living his childhood dream of becoming Captain Kirk. But anyway, he eventually pilots the sub back up until he gets communication back. Now, that little test run would suggest that this sub isn't exactly safe. But old Stockton, he doesn't seem to be bothered by this. In fact, at one point, he's quoted as saying, you know, at some point, safety is just pure waste. I mean, if you just want to be safe, don't get out of bed. Oh boy. So anyway, in 2021, Stockton and OceanGate start taking tourists down to see the wreckage of the Titanic. All for the low, low price of $250,000 a person. So basically, you gotta be super wealthy to engage in this. And they take, I believe, 13 expeditions down to see the wreckage, and most of these trips are in fact successful. However, they do lose communication with the surface a bunch of times during some of them, and apparently the Titan has over 118 different major and minor technical issues, including one time the battery died and passengers got trapped inside the sub for 27 whole hours, which is definitely enough to make me say, fuck all that, but I don't know, I guess these billionaires are just built different because they keep paying the money and they keep going. And by 2023, Stockton and his company OceanGate, they're getting a lot of attention from the news media. So this is great for him. I mean, more media means more attention and therefore more customers. And so that summer, Titan heads out for its next expedition. Another trip to see the Titanic, and 5 people are supposed to go on this trip, Stockton and 4 others. And they aren't all billionaires. Only 2 of them are actually billionaires. One of them is actually one of the billionaire's 19-year-old son, and one of the guys is a Titanic expert. And so all 5 of these people get in the sub, and it takes off, and it starts to submerge. And everything's going fine. And over an hour goes by, and so far, so good, everything's going as planned. In fact, the sub sends a message to the support crew on the surface saying, all good here. And so, I assume they're all chilling in this tiny little sub, looking out the windows or whatever, checking out the fish. And then, suddenly, out of nowhere, boom, they lose power. And the Titan slowly tilts, and it starts to nosedive toward the ocean floor. And all the passengers are now sitting in the pitch dark like, what the fuck is going on? And this goes on for about 60 seconds. And now they're panicking. Like, why did they lose power? Is this the end for them? And then, boom, the Titan implodes. And it crushes everyone like a soda can. I guess it wasn't constructed right, and it was under too much underwater pressure. And all 5 people on board die instantly. And it's not dramatic, it's not long and drawn out suffering, it's instant death within milliseconds. So they felt nothing. And here is actually footage of a piece of the sub they later found on the ocean floor. Now, there is some speculation that the 5 passengers did not lose power before the sub imploded, that it just imploded instantly and there was no panicking and no darkness or anything like that. But the truth is, we actually don't know for sure. And so then, this story breaks, and it's all over the news. And then the internet hears about it, and they are ruthless. Like, they fucking celebrated these 5 people's demise. Do you remember that? Like, the general consensus when this happened was, yeah, fuck those billionaires. Like, they deserved it. Like, what? And people are, like, making memes out of it? Tons of memes. Like, these people were just trying to explore the ocean, and the internet is over here dancing on their grave. It was wild.